Hi everyone and welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. In case this is your first time watching one of my videos, hi, I'm Leslie, I'm so glad to have you here. On my channel I talk about all things luxury, in particular handbags, but I cover a wide range of topics on here and film unboxings, reviews, shopping vlogs, travel vlogs from time to time, and the occasional high street fashion content thrown into the mix. So if that sounds like your thing, I would love for you to consider subscribing. And of course, if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much. I really appreciate all of you. So the idea for today's video kind of came to me in connection with a video that I filmed a couple of weeks ago, which is the 6 designer handbags that I love, but probably for one reason or another won't end up purchasing, and why. And one of the bags that I mentioned in detail is the Celine Triomphe bag. Chances are most of you are well familiar with the Celine Triomphe bag because it's been all over, in particular all over Instagram. Sometimes I feel like I can't open up the app and scroll through it without coming across a Celine Triomphe within the first couple of seconds. I might be exaggerating here, but you get the idea. So for today's video, I decided to put together a list of, I believe we have 5 bags to go through, of handbags that are kind of similar to the Celine Triomphe bag, that give you the same vibe and can kind of be paired or worn in the same kind of situations that the Celine Triomphe bag could be worn in, but that are not that all over Instagram and maybe a little more under the radar, and yeah, you don't feel like everyone is wearing the bag essentially. Anyway, I feel like this explanation and intro was way too long, so let's cut straight to the first bag. Starting off with a bag that is, I'd say, more on the affordable side, especially when you compare it to the Celine Triomphe bag. Way cheaper. We're talking about $450 if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to insert, of course, both photos of the bags that I'm talking about, but also pricing details on the screen and also in the description box below. And I'm also going to try to link to every bag that I'm talking about. Anyway, the first bag is the DeMellier. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's a UK-based brand, so let me know if you know how to properly pronounce the brand. Yeah, it's their Vancouver bag. I'm pretty sure they've been teaming up with a couple of influencers. I've seen the bag on Instagram a number of times, and it doesn't seem super organic, especially considering that the brand is pretty new. I think it's been founded in 2017, so it's definitely not a brand that has a lot of heritage and history behind it. But if you ask me, in that kind of price bracket, you're not necessarily looking for a brand that has a super long heritage. It's more about the bag itself and the quality and the look. And in my opinion, I mean, it's not the exact measurements or proportions of the Celine Triomphe bag, but the Vancouver bag definitely gives me similar vibes. You have these 2 vertical metal bars in the front, and I think that's a lovely detail, and maybe not as in your face as the large Celine Triomphe. Really like that bag, especially for the price point. Granted, I haven't seen a DeMellier bag in the flesh, in real life, and I haven't been able to fully inspect the craftsmanship and the stitching and stuff, but from what I saw on Instagram, they seem pretty well made. Anyway, the Vancouver bag, in my opinion, is a great alternative. The second bag on today's list might look a little familiar if you've watched my Louis Vuitton pop-up store and Ferragamo vlog that I posted a while back, because I'm talking about the Ferragamo Trapezio bag. It's a very new release. I wasn't able to find basically any content on the Trapezio bag, neither on YouTube nor on Instagram, but I really hope that the Trapezio bag will get a lot more attention because the bag is beautiful. It's not a perfect rectangle, it's more yeah, I guess trapezoid shape. It tapers up basically, so the top part where you have the flap and stuff is a little wider than the bottom part of the bag. I think that's a super interesting detail. Talking about details, you have this Givenchy logo on the front, and when you look closely, you can see that the Givenchy logo isn't one-dimensional, but you have these interlocking rings that gives a little more dimension, as I said, and a little more interest to the bag. They also carry a belt in the same interlocking Givenchy design. Love that bag. I also feel the leather on the Trapezio bag isn't as delicate as the leather on the Celine Triomphe, because the leather on the Celine Triomphe bag is a lot more shinier, whereas the leather on the Trapezio bag is a little more matte, so chances are it won't get scratched up too easily. Still, it's a smooth leather and yeah, no grain whatsoever, so you have to be a little more careful with that kind of leather, but gorgeous bag. I highly recommend you check out the Trapezio bag if you happen to have a Ferragamo boutique near you. The third bag on today's list costs a fraction of the Trapezio bag, let alone the Celine Triomphe bag. The Celine Triomphe is still significantly more expensive than the Trapezio bag. Anyway, third bag is the Maje Clover bag. Of course, Maje is predominantly a clothing brand, but they also have beautiful accessories, including the Clover bag. And the moment I saw the Clover bag, I immediately was reminded of the Celine Triomphe bag. Instead of the Celine Triomphe logo, you have a Clover at the front. And I feel like they just look so similar. The Clover bag comes in white, I believe, a cognac-y, like brown color, and black, of course. And for the price, I think we're looking at like 300, 400 euros. I feel like you get a lot for your money, and yeah, it's really roomy on the inside. I think the cognac color also went into the Maje sale a couple of weeks ago, but I missed out on that. But yeah, definitely check out the Maje Clover bag. I think it's a brilliant alternative. Looks similar to the Celine Triomphe bag, but you wouldn't be like, okay, that's a copy or a dupe. It's still a bag design of its own, and the Clover detail, of course, like is Maje's logo. But yeah, the fourth bag on today's list is by Givenchy, and I don't know about you, but I feel like, I mean, everyone knows Givenchy, but when it comes to their bags, all I can think of, like off the top of my head, is the Antigona bag, and that's been around for ages, and I feel like it's had its like heyday a couple of years ago, and now I hardly see anyone talk about the Antigona anymore. Of course, that doesn't mean that the bag like stop being beautiful or like practical, but it's not like in the forefront of everyone's mind and like the it bag anymore. But of course, Givenchy also has other bags, including the, I think it's called the 4G bag. In fact, I stumbled across a 4G bag, and I think I also tried it on in the Givenchy outlet that's inside the Mall Firenze, so the like luxury outlet center close to Florence in Italy. By the way, check out my 2 shopping vlogs that I filmed in the outlet. Insane selection, like Ferragamo, Celine, Givenchy, Gucci, of course, Fendi, although the Fendi selection wasn't like that great. All the big brands essentially. So yeah, check out my vlogs and also my Saint Laurent double unboxing. Anyway, I digress. I also tried on the Givenchy 4G bag, and if I hadn't just like 2 shops prior to us going into Givenchy, if I hadn't purchased 2 Saint Laurent bags, I'm pretty sure I would have come home with the 4G bag, especially because the outlet price was just so good. But also on like your regular online retailers, Louis Xavier Roma, Farfetch, 24S, I see the 4G bag being reduced quite often. So definitely browse around if you're interested in the 4G bag. I'd say try not to spend full price on the bag because it's often included in sales. Anyway, the shape is pretty similar to the Celine Triomphe bag, which isn't that hard because the Celine Triomphe bag doesn't have a like unique shape to begin with. But yeah, still it kind of gave me like Celine Triomphe vibes. Instead of the Triomphe logo, you have of course like the Givenchy logo. And also I think it's in a combination of like shiny gold and brushed gold, but I believe they also have like silver hardware options. So definitely a bag to look into. And that leads us to the last bag on today's list, which is by Tory Burch, so more on the mid-range designer spectrum, which also, like, of course, reflects on the price. Although I do have a bone to pick when it comes to the pricing of this particular bag. Which bag am I talking about? I'm talking about the Tory Burch Eleanor bag. And I think the medium size is pretty like identical in terms of dimensions to the Celine Triomphe bag. And while it's still a unique design and not a copy or like a dupe of any sort, it still definitely gives me like vibes of the Celine Triomphe. And the leather's also kind of a smooth leather. The strap's beautiful, and yeah, just looks really classy, really high-end actually. Talking about high-end, in my opinion personally, I feel like Tory Burch is on the same level as like Marc Jacobs, but the price of the Eleanor bag, I think we're talking about like 800 bucks, is kind of pushing it. And if you ask me, unless you're able to find this bag in the sale, I probably wouldn't purchase it. I feel for that kind of money, you're able to get like more high tier designer bags basically. I mean, take the 4G bag by Givenchy for instance. If you're able to get it at a great discount on sale somewhere, you can get pretty close to the full price of the Tory Burch Eleanor bag. So yeah, kind of, I don't know, just some food for thought, I guess. Of course, Personal preference, maybe you're totally fine with spending like 800 bucks on a Tory Burch bag, but I'd say, or like my recommendation would be on the lookout for Tory Burch sales and score an Eleanor bag in the sales for a much more reasonable price tag. Yeah, that concludes today's video. I really hope this video was helpful. Before you click off though, if you enjoyed today's video, I would really appreciate if you gave it a thumbs up. It takes you like not even a second, but it helps me out so much, especially with me being such a small creator. Every like thumbs up helps. Also consider subscribing. I upload every Wednesday, and yeah, I would love to have you back.